The following matters will come before today's licensing commission. It's our regularly scheduled meeting. The meeting is previously filed with the city clerk. The first items on the agenda will be the applications submitted for consideration. Item number 1, Blessed Mother of the Morning Star Parish at St. Mary's Church, 670 Washington Avenue. Ralph DeChico is the event manager. This is an application for a one-day malt wine, common victular, and entertainment license to be exercised at St. Mary's Church, 670 Washington Avenue, on Saturday, April 30th, 2022, from 5 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. for a Holy Name Society dinner dance for parishioners. The expected attendance is 80, and the establishment is to be, the entertainment is going to be provided by a DJ. Is there someone here on behalf of Blessed Mother of the Morning Star Parish? Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Thank you. Ralph DeChico, 49 Washington Street, Revere, Vice President of St. Mary's Holy Name Society.
Very good. Can you just explain briefly what the event is and what your plans are for the license?
It's been 2 years waiting. The parishioners are dying to finally have a gathering again. It's just going to be a dinner dance for the parishioners. We're going to have a catered meal for the parishioners. We're going to have DJ entertainment and beer and wine that we've been having for years, but because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to have it for the past 2 years. So we do not expect to go over 80. It's probably going to be under that because of people are still a little bit reluctant, but there are parishioners that have been waiting for an event like this to happen again.
Thank you very much, Mr. DeChico. Any of my fellow commissioners have any questions about the event?
Will this event be outside or indoors?
No, it's indoors.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the church hall.
Okay.
I have no questions. This has been an ongoing time, and it's a great time for the city. So I have no questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. DeChico. I'll close this section of the hearing. Are there any proponents, anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of the Blessed Mother of the Morning Star Parish event at St. Mary's? Name and address for the record, please.
Tony Zambuto, 87 High Street. I just want to be a proponent, speak in favor of it.
Thank you very much. Are there any other proponents? Anybody else that wants to speak on behalf of this? I don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. Are there any opponents? Is there anybody opposed to the St. Mary's dinner dance? We don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. I will open it up to a general discussion and/or a motion.
I'd move to approve the application of Blessed Mother of the Morning Star Parish at St. Mary's Church for their one-day malt and wine, common vicular license, and entertainment license to be exercised at St. Mary's Church on April 30th.
I'll second the motion.
Very good. The motion is approved. The application of Blessed Mother of the Morning Star Parish at St. Mary's Church for a one-day malt, wine, common victular, entertainment license is approved. The license will be exercised at 670 Washington Avenue on Saturday, April 30th, 2022, from 5 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. Thank you very much, sir.
Could I indulge the chair and the commission for 1 second for I'm going to put my Commission on Disabilities hat on for a second for something that occurred at last month's meeting, if you would graciously accept that. I had called you after that meeting.
Sure.
I was going to send a letter, but since I had to come for this, I wanted to state on it. I was mischaracterized by a resident stating that the Commission on Disabilities chair only comes up here on issues that he feels that are important to him. It had to do with the issue of the outside dining at the new development. As anyone that knows me, that's not my character. I knew what was coming up. I clearly saw that that was not coming on city property, and even if it did, that was DCR property. So I felt it did not have to come up, and it was within the building's property, and it was not going to infringe on the public, so it was not going to be any ADA violations. The resident that came up here mischaracterized me and the Commission on Disabilities' work. Anybody that knows, I've been in long negotiations with DCR. I have been with the Revere Beach Partnership this year. We're trying to bring a lot more disability activities to the beach down there this year. I've been involved with DCR on all different aspects down there that we're trying to bring programs this year, hopefully. And also was mischaracterized that that gentleman was the previous chair of the Commission on Disabilities, and he was not. So I just wanted to make that statement, and if anyone has any issues, that they know how to reach the Commission on Disabilities, and I try to attend every meeting that I feel is necessary for a disabled community in Revere. But when that issue was coming on, it did not have anything to do with public property. It was not even DCR property. It was the private property and did not infringe on any ADA violations.
Well, thank you very much for that. And I just want to state that I do appreciate, and I think the city appreciates the effort you've put in to make the Commission on Disabilities be responsive and have businesses be responsive. And also, I want to comment about your volunteer efforts in the city, which don't go unnoticed, and it's appreciated by all. So I just wanted to say that as a point of personal observation. Do any of my other fellow commissioners have any questions or comments?
I don't.
I have no question.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Rob, can I just ask the gentleman in the back to pull the shade down?
Okay.
It's like kind of blinding me a little bit.
Sir, can you pull that
Yeah.
shade down so we can?
I think there's a string, yeah, you could just, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's much better.
Much better.
Item number 2, Squire Revere LLC, DBA 4 Points by Sheridan, Boston, Logan Airport, Revere, 407 Squire Road. Steve Merrill is the manager. This is an application for transfer of an all-alcohol in-holder license and change of manager. The application of Squire Revere LLC, 4 Points by Sheridan, Boston, Logan Airport Hotel, for transfer of the all-alcohol in-holder license from Driftwood Special Servicing LLC. Said license is to be exercised at the same location, and a change of manager from David Hasboom. Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good afternoon, Attorney John Meridian, Demarcus Law Offices, 56 Central Avenue, Lynn, and with me, Stephen Merrill.
Hi, Stephen Merrill, 1 Audubon Road, Wakefield.
Thank you very much, sir. Can you just explain briefly what you'd like to do with this and what your plans are for the transfer?
Yeah, good. It's just simply a transfer of the license. The hotel's under agreement to be purchased. So we're seeking a transfer of the all alcohol liquor license with the in-holder license to the new operator, which will be Squire Revere LLC. It's simply a change of business ownership. There's no change to the hotel structure or anything like that. Everything's remained the same as it currently is. Steve here will be the manager of record. He has over 20 years' experience in hotel management as his career. He is tip certified. They anticipate, 40 to 50 employees at the hotel. So with that, any questions you may have, but again, simply a transfer to a new operator.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Just a couple of questions on these floor plans. Are these floor plans the same as the original?
Right, it's the same.
There's no
same-
change on?
No change to the floor plans. It's the same license that's been approved by the commission when the hotel is.
Okay, so the seating was already there with the previous license?
Any operational changes you foresee coming in?
No, we don't see any this time.
Okay.
Is it going to remain a Sheridan, or is this going to be another entity, or how is that?
It'll remain the 4 Point Sheridan. Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, sorry. It'll remain the 4 Point Sheridan for the foreseeable future, at least for the next 18 months anyways.
Okay, is there something afoot after that?
Nope, we look out about 18 months at a time with the brands with Marriott and such after pandemic. It's just a time frame that we all look at this, 18 months to 2 years.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll close this section of the hearing. Thank you. Are there any proponents? Anybody else like to speak on behalf of the transfer of the all alcohol in-holder license and change of manager for the 4 Points? I don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. Is there anybody opposed? Is there anybody that's opposed to the transfer of this license? I don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. We'll open it up to a general discussion and/or a motion.
I don't have any questions. I've gone over the paperwork, and everything seems to be in order, so my questions have all been answered through the paperwork.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Orsini?
I have no questions, and I second the motion put forth by my fellow.
Well, I'll put forward a motion that we approve this. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Very good. The motion is approved. The application is approved for the application of transfer of the all-alcohol in-holder license and change of manager for 4 Points by Sheraton Boston, Logan Airport Revere, to be exercised at 407 Squire Road. The transfer of the all-alcohol in-holder license from Driftwood Special Servicing LLC is approved. Thank you very much, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
This will be item number 3, the Neighborhood Developments and City of Revere Night Market Team, Sandler Square. Vanny Holt is the event manager. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. This is an application for a one-day entertainment license. The application of the neighborhood developers and the City of Revere's night market team for a one-day entertainment license to be exercised at Sandler Square on Friday, May 13th, 2022, from 2 p.m. until 7 p.m., with a rain date of May 14th. The event is Arts in Sandler Square, and the entertainment is will consist of 1 hour of live music performance and a playlist of international music. The expected attendance is 100. Your name and address for the record, please.
Yep, I'm Vani Hood at 44 Dehan Street.
Very good. Can you tell us briefly what it is you're planning for this event?
Yep, it's actually an appreciation event. It'll be a one-day license for entertainment to have live music at Sandler Square. It'll be less robust than our night market pilot that we did in 2021. We're going back to Sandler Square, which was recently revitalized in 2021, and we're going to be kind of thanking the abutters and the local neighbors and stakeholders who have supported the pilot by having live music, live art. We also are working with an educator at the Revere High School to showcase some poems by young Revere youth.
Thank you very much. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions or?
No, I have no questions. Again, I've gone over the application. Everything seems to be in order.
I was actually going to ask if it was the similar event that you did back in, is it a smaller scale?
It's
I don't
a
understand
lot
what this
smaller,
is.
and it's a longer range because it's meant for passerbyers walking around.
Right, okay, cool, because I know the event that you put on in 2021 was a really big success, and I know that it was a great community response.
Yes.
So, but I have no questions. I think everything's in order, and I look forward to you bringing this to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I will close this section of the hearing, and I'll ask for any proponents. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of this event? I don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. Are there any opponents? Is anybody opposed to the event at Sandler Square? Don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section and open it up for a general discussion and/or a motion.
I'd move to approve this application for a one-day entertainment license.
Very good.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much. The application for one-day entertainment license to be exercised at Sandler Square on Friday, May 13th, 2022, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., with a rain date of Saturday, May 14th, is approved. Thank you very much.
I just didn't understand that. Is beer and wine or? This is for beer and wine, right?
Yes. That's what that's, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 4. This is R&M Foods, Inc., DBA De Palmas, 288 Broadway. Angela Rendon is the manager. This is an application for a change of license category to malt wine with cordials liqueur. The application of R&M Foods, Inc., DBA De Palma, to change the license category of a malt wine restaurant to a malt wine with cordials and liqueurs. Your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Jolene Rendon, 21 Sturgis Street, Winthrop.
Thank you.
Angela Rendon, 256 Layton Street, East Boston.
Thank you very much. Can you just explain briefly what it is you'd like to do with this change, and will this affect the business, and how?
So it shouldn't affect our business at all. We actually want to be able to maintain similar recipes between all 3 locations. So we want to be able to have our sangrias, have the exact same alcohols that are, served in the other locations. There was actually an error before when we originally applied when we first opened. We had been under the assumption that our lawyer at the time had applied for beer, malt, and cordials. And we had actually originally received that and thought that that's what we were, until this year when we were informed that we actually weren't, that we were just a beer and malt license.
Okay.
So throughout the years that we had worked under that license, we didn't have any issues, and all of our waiters are tip certified. And we just want to be able to maintain what we had originally thought that we had and continue the business that we have had.
Thank you very much. Any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, I have no questions with that. I mean, it's just adding the cordials.
Is it just the cordials?
Yes, cordials and
Along with the beer and wine.
with the beer and wine.
Yeah, I have no questions. I think it's a extremely fine restaurant. I would love for them to maintain that consistency from their Winthrop location, so I think it's a good thing for the restaurant and the city.
Yes, I would agree. Okay, well, we'll close this section of the hearing. Thank you. And as for any proponents, is anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of De Palmas and the change of license category? I don't see or hear anybody to close that section. Is there anybody opposed? Is there anybody opposed to the change in this license? Don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. I'll open it up to a general discussion and/or a motion.
Well, if there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'd second that.
Very good. The application for a change of license category to a malt wine with cordials liqueurs application is approved. The application of R&M Foods, Inc. to change the license category of a malt wine restaurant to a malt wine with cordials and liqueurs is approved.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Likewise.
Item number 5, Akron Motors, Inc., DBA 1A Auto Way, 441 Lee Burbank Highway. Charles Valentin is the principal. This is an application for a change of officers and directors. The application of Akron Motors, Inc., DBA 1A Auto Way, for a holder of a Class II motor vehicle dealer's license for a change of officers and directors. All operations are to remain the same. Is there anybody here from Akron? Yes,
Good afternoon. I'm Charles Valentin.
very good, sir. Can you tell us briefly what it is your plans are for this business?
Pretty much going to keep up the same we've been doing. So,
Okay.
there will be no changes whatsoever other than the change of officers.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions for Mr. Valentin?
No, again, I've gone over the paperwork, and I'm satisfied with what I've read.
I'm satisfied as well.
Very good, sir. Have you been in the car business before?
Yes.
And have you had a license in the past at other cities?
No, I just work with other people.
Very good. Okay, well, I'll close this section of the hearing. Are there any proponents or anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of 1A Auto Way on Burbank Highway? I don't see or hear anybody. I'll close that section. Are there any opponents? Is there anybody opposed to the issuance of this transfer of the Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license? We don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll open it up to a general discussion and/or a motion. Does anybody have anything you want to comment about the business, or?
No, I'd move to approve the application for the change of officers / directors.
I'll second the motion.
Very good. Thank you very much. The application for transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license from Charles Viarella Jr., DBA Millennial, no, I'm sorry, I skipped one. The application for a change of officers and directors for Akron Motors, Inc., DBA 1A Auto Way, for the holder of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license is approved. Thank you very much. Item number 6. This is Charles Viarella Jr., DBA Millennium Auto Sales, 190 American Legion Highway. Charles Viarella Jr. is the principal. This is an application for a transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license. The application for Millennium Motor Sales, the principal, for a transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license from Pat Tater Jr. The transfer is to change ownership as part of the distribution of the prior owner's estate. Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Christopher Viarella Jr., 234 Lincoln Street, Revere, Massachusetts.
Thank you very much. Can you tell us briefly what it is your plans are for Millennium Motor Sales?
Yes, my uncle passed away a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. During the pandemic, I've been trying to switch the license over to me. I've been working with him since 2015, and after he passed, he was going to hand it over to me, so I'm just trying to do that.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, again, I'm very familiar with the property, and there's going to be no changes made at that location.
No changes.
Am I correct? The entrance is still going to be the same for American Legion Highway?
Yes.
We haven't changed that at all?
No.
Oh, okay.
Same.
I thought I saw some work going on over there. That's why I was concerned.
I think it's just city work, nothing to do with us, though.
Nothing.
Just one entrance in from American Legion, just straight in. Next to there's a gas station, and you pull right in.
Right.
It's one entrance.
So it's going to stay the same?
Yeah.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Okay.
I have no questions.
Very good. I'll close this section of the hearing and ask for any proponents. Is anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of Millennium Motor Sales and the transfer of the Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license? I don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. Are there any opponents? Is there anybody opposed to the transfer? Seeing none, I will close that section of the hearing and open up a general discussion and/or a motion.
Well, again, if there's going to be no changes and it's going to remain the same, I would make a motion to approve.
I'd second that motion.
Thank you.
Very good. The application for a transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license is approved. The application of Millennium Motor Sales, Christopher Viarella Jr., principal, for the transfer of the Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license from Pat Tater Jr. is approved. Thank you very much, sir. Item number 7, United Auto Center, Inc., DBA JR Car Sales, 400 Beach Street. Francisco de Salas Barboza Neto is the principal. This is an application for a transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license. The application of United Auto Center, Inc., DBA JR Car Sales, for a transfer of the Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license from Circle Auto Gallery, Inc. The transfer is for consolidation of multiple companies under one corporation. The principal owner to remain the same. Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Francisco Nito, 400 Beach Street, Revere.
Thank you very much. And can you tell us what your plans are for JR Car Sales?
Yeah, we stay everything the same. Operations will be the same. The only reason I'm changing the name because I have another license in Newton, and I want to make everything just one name. So I have one website. Everything's going to be easy to go.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, again, as long as there's no changes, I have no questions.
I have a question. So you have 18 approved spaces? You
I have
18 approved spaces?
19 plus 1.
19. Is that typically how many vehicles you're allowed to have on the property?
Yes, right. I usually keep some cars on a place that I rent in Broadway. Unfortunately, it was sold last week, and I'm just getting another place to rent pretty close. So usually I have more cars, but I just rent and put them somewhere else.
Have you received any complaints about an overflow of extra vehicles?
Not yet.
None whatsoever? No abutting businesses or neighbors?
No,
have come?
just the officer was there today, and then he was counting the cars, but I never received any complaint.
Okay, was there more than 18 cars on the property?
Today, yes.
Is that usually the case?
I'm sorry?
Is that usually the case?
No, it's not. Just because the place that I have that I rent, that was sold at the body shop, I used to have 30 space, and I was running this week to get some place, what else, and trying to get the plates faster in the DMV, but it was taking 4 to 5 days to get the plates that I have to delivery. So I'm trying to run as soon as possible, but I already have another place in Lynn where I can put more cars.
So you're gonna start, your overflow of cars are gonna be all the way in Lynn?
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's in Lynn Way.
Off the Lynn?
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I have for now.
Sir, we did have I had a couple questions, particularly about, now, are you parking cars on John Moody Road, around the corner, up the hill?
Just the employee cars. I have like 6 employees, so probably I think the neighbors feel like they wasn't busy before because it was just 2 people working on it.
Okay.
But I have 6 employees, and they don't have anywhere else to park.
I understand, but you're not putting unregistered cars on the street,
No.
correct?
No.
And how about the sidewalk? Are you using the sidewalk for parking cars?
No,
as
no,
well?
not using sidewalk. What happened is because the place is small, so sometimes when the people come in, they put in a sidewalk, we just go and move the car from them.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will close this section of the hearing.
Okay.
And I'll ask for any proponents. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of JR Car Sales and the transfer of this Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license? I don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section of the hearing. Is there anybody opposed? Is there anybody opposed to the transfer of this license? I don't see or hear anybody. We will close that section and open it up to a general discussion and/or motions.
Well, the only thing I feel is, with any business in the city, I'm concerned about the neighbors. John Mooney Road is congested, has a lot of cars there, so I see that you do have 3 employees' parking spaces.
Sir, would you step up to the microphone, please? I think we have a couple questions for you.
You have 3 employees' parking spots on your lot, don't you?
I have I have 3 places where the people can park in, but the customer, not the employees.
Okay.
The place for parking is for the customers, not for the employees. And I'm going to say, fortunately, I'm very busy. We sold 40 cars this month. And sometimes I get 5 or 6 people at the same, like 5 people come at the same time. So we try to put them like very, very close, so I can put my employees to park on the lot. I had tell them to park on the side.
I thought that's why we designated those spots originally, so that your employees would not be parking in the neighborhood. The parking's very tight there.
Yeah,
We
well,
did get
I can try
calls.
to talk to my employees so they want parking everyone the same place, so maybe one or two, and then they find somewhere else to park, so we don't want to bother the neighbors too.
Okay, and none of them have dealer plates that are parking on these side streets on John Mooney
The
Road?
customers, the employees, they don't have dealer plate.
They don't put it.
No, they don't use dealer plates.
Okay. I just ask that you be considerate of the neighbors.
Yes, of course, I understand the neighbors, yeah. Yeah, I was very, like I say, lose the parking lot that I have for 30 cars was something that I unexpected, and just came like last week. They told me, yeah, you gotta move your cars, and I was trying to run everything as soon as possible.
So I can appreciate the need to move everything under Circle Auto Gallery, right? That's what you're trying to, is that a company you've owned,
Yes,
okay, for a while? Would that bring the business added revenue, or does that help increase the traffic to your current location or anything?
now what happened is, because I have another location in Newton, and I have credit lines, so what they do, if I have two different names, it's hard them to audit, you know?
I see,
If I have just one name, they can audit both.
right.
Yeah, they have to come and check they have the cars in the lot, because they pay for the cars, so they have the titles and they want to make sure. But when I have two different names, make the life them hard, so they ask me also to change and have one. And also in terms like, if you want to have just one website, it's really hard to keep two different names, you know, have Circle and have it.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Obviously, because the concern, there's a legitimate concern regarding your overflow issue, which you said you're gonna alleviate, right?
Yeah.
And, so I was just curious to know if this is gonna expand, you know, like if you're merging with someone else or coming under one
No,
umbrella
yeah.
to bring more to this location. So I guess that's all I have, but I reviewed the application, everything looks in order. Just be mindful of your overflow and where you're parking your cars and making sure that there isn't any unregistered vehicles,
Of course I will.
you know, up on that hill, okay?
Thanks for the advice.
So I move to approve it.
Thank you very much.
I'll second the motion.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
The application for transfer of the Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license of United Auto Centers, Inc., DBA JR Car Sales, for a transfer of the Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license from Circle Auto Gallery, Inc., is approved. Thank you very much. Item number 8, excuse me, Park and Go, 44 Railroad Street, Matthew Philbin, President. This is an application for a commercial parking lot license. The application of Park and Go, 44 Railroad Street, has made application for a parking lot license for a park and fly to be exercised at the same location. The requested number of parking spaces is 220. Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Attorney Cosmo Carololus, and we are of D'Ambrosio LLP, 14 Proctor Avenue in Revere, Massachusetts.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Can you explain briefly what Park and Go would like to do here?
Yes, so I represent the owner, Matt Philbin, and the applicant for this license is Park and Co. My client's seeking a license to operate a 24/7 park and fly at 44 Railroad Avenue with 220 parking spaces. The operation of a park and fly in the district, the Technology Enterprise District, is suitable use in that district, and it's compatible with the other commercial and industrial uses in the district. The planned business would neither deviate nor substantially alter any of the character of the existing activities in this vicinity. And then there are also other similarly operating fee parking services in the area. The business operation will feature 24/7 security surveillance, 10-foot fencing, and floodlights illuminating all entrances to the site. Matthew is also privately contracted for snow, landscaping, and trash removal services. The site right now isn't completed yet, but it will be completely paved, striped, and marked with arrows showing the required on-site traffic circulation. The current infrastructure and public ways that are adjacent to the location will support, the use as well, so there's no issue with traffic or any substantial amount of traffic being created from the operation of the business. The business also complements the ongoing redevelopments of properties within the district and promotes the continued revitalization because, as you know, the district is home to many of the travel and hospitality hospitality industries that currently exist in Revere. The financial context to having such a business, and this becomes much more pronounced during difficult times when sources of revenue are significantly reduced, is the property taxes and the licensing fees that are would come due to the city of Revere and then also be put towards the use of its residents. In conclusion, it is a great project for the city, and it represents an opportunity to revitalize the aesthetic appeal of that railroad district and attract new business to the city of Revere. It'll ultimately benefit the public at large and has likewise received the support of the Revere City Council, the Office of the Mayor, the Site Plan Review Committee, the Building Commissioner, and generally that of the community at large. It is also worth noting that the project has undergone site plan review and has been fully vetted and approved by both the Revere City Council and Site Plan Review Committee. The City Director of Economic Development has also prepared a letter in support citing the numerous benefits that I just told you, and the Ward Councilor is also in support of the project as well. It is for these reasons that I'm asking the License Commission today to also support Parking Co's application to operate a commercial parking lot at 44 Railroad Avenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No.
We have a letter from Mr. O'Brien. We've read through it, so just so.
I've gone over the paperwork, and although I don't know Matt Philbin, I don't know if he's here, no, Matt Philbin.
No, so
Okay.
I'm joined by King.
But-
He is the operations manager. Danielle, she's the financial manager. And Bernie Gwen, he is the traffic engineer. So if any of those questions come up, we are.
Right. Well, I don't know him, but I do know his work. I've seen a hotel that we had in Ward 3, actually on American Legion Highway, and the work he did and the turnaround of that neighborhood was wonderful. So I would have thanked him if he was here, but I've seen his work, and he's a man that sticks to his word. So I've read the application, and to me, it sounds great. And parking in the city of Revere is, you know, really, we need it desperately. So I have no questions. I've gone over it. His reputation to me has been great. Every project he's taken on, which Revere Beach, of course, Broadway Inn is one particular one. So no, I have no questions. Everything looks great to me.
And we also have company policy operating procedures that we can hand out if you'd like to each of you.
Sure. Thank you, Councilor.
Permission to approach.
Sure, please do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions than my fellow commissioners.
I'd like to reserve my question to see if there's any opposition to this.
Very good. We'll close this section of the hearing. Any proponents? Is there anybody that wants to speak on behalf of Park and Go?
It's Mr. Celtics.
Thank you. Ira Novoselsky, 53 Dehone Street. I'm in favor of this. I know Mr. Philbin and all the businesses he has in Revere. He produces a lot of economic development for the city, and I know the location, you know, there are a lot of cars there, you know, when he will park them there, and he's not interfering with any other business adjacent to him, so I think it's a good spot. It's out of the way and low traffic on Railroad Street. So I'm in favor of this, and I hope it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor.
Good to see you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of the project?
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Tony Zambuto, 87 High Street, Revere. Obviously, Mr. Philbin's reputation was spoken about by one of the commissioners as exemplary. Everything he's done for the city is positive. This is just another piece that I think is worthy of our support. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of this project? I don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. Is there anybody opposed? Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Adam Gutbazal. Address is 255 State Street, Boston, Massachusetts. I'm here on behalf of an abutter, Burbank Realty, and Durant Performance Coatings, Inc. And I thank you for allowing me to be heard. Respectfully, this application is premature before you. Respectfully, my brother counsel said that this has been fully vetted and approved. That is only partially true. There is an application for a site, for a permit that went before the City Council that was approved. That has been appealed. It is presently involved in litigation in the land court. There is no permit. This has not been fully approved by the Site Plan Review Committee. In fact, the decision, which is part of the application, concludes on pages 4 and 5 with a number of conditions that must be satisfied before a permit can be provided. Not all of those conditions have been satisfied. In particular, I would draw your attention to number 12, which states that an in-depth traffic study shall be completed and filed with the Site Plan Review Committee. That has not happened yet. So there is a park and fly that's operating there now by coming before you, requesting this application. This is a tacit acknowledgement that they are presently operating without a license. It does affect the abutters. There have been trespassers on my client's property, individuals who are customers of the Park and Fly who, because of a lack of signage, do not know where to go, that are staying in locations. There have been multiple incidents where cars going around the turn have caused near collisions. This hasn't been fully vetted yet. Once the litigation has concluded, has been resolved, a determination has been made, maybe at that point in time it'd be more appropriate for them to come before you and request this application. At this time, I respectfully ask that the Commission decline this application.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Can you just summarize the core of your client's argument in the litigation so I just have a little bit of context?
Certainly, it's that
Your standing in that case.
well, in essence, when the City Council made this decision, they deferred material decisions to other entities, including the Site Plan Review Committee. So the plan that was provided to the City Council wasn't a fully vetted, finalized plan, namely traffic. My brother counsel mentioned that there haven't been any issues with traffic. It's an odd statement to make when one of the conditions is that there be a comprehensive traffic study done. There's not a full understanding of how traffic would be affected in this area. That is an example of a determination that should not have been deferred to a later point in time. That should have been considered before the City Council made their decision. So I use that as a primary example. There's a lot of questions that hang with respect to the landscaping plan, the lighting plan. They have been presented to the Site Plan Review Committee, and approval has not been filed. So I would ask whether my brother counsel can confirm that all 13 of these conditions that are set forth in the City Council's decision that are requirements before a permit can be issued have been satisfied. I posit the answer is no.
How does their operation, I know that your client's in a butter, how does their operation of this Park and Fly impede or even encroach on the operation of your client in any way?
Certainly, they've been patrons of the Park and Fly have been trespassing on our client's property due to lack of adequate signage. Individuals who are awaiting a shuttle or unclear as to where to go have been sitting on some of the barriers near the curve, which causes a dangerous issue. My clients have large trucks that come and deliver and drop off things, pick up things. It causes a great safety issue for my clients. Because of the lack of signage, the Park and Fly has called a tow truck to tow vehicles from my client's lot, accusing them of trespassing on their own lot because of the lack of adequate signage for the tow truck company to even know whether or not they were on 112 or 44 Railroad, because there's improper signage. So that has affected my clients, their ability to enjoy the property that they own and use in the city of Revere and to operate their business.
Do you envision or have you, and I know you can only comment to a certain extent in terms of resolution, but is there something that they can do to help alleviate some of your clients' concerns? Like the signage, I mean, posting some signs. Have you conveyed that to council?
They could submit, which we have requested multiple times, the comprehensive traffic study to the site plan review committee, which they have not done yet. We've asked for that, and I'd ask that you at least defer your decision until that traffic study has been considered and reviewed and potentially approved by the site plan review committee. That has not happened to date.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. The lot next door, is it also a parking lot for trucks? Is that what you're saying?
No, and thank you for the question. It's not that it's a parking lot for trucks. There is an easement to access my client's property. And trucks will go across that easement to unload and load. And the operation of the current park and fly, the unlicensed park and fly, which they have been operating since well before November, has impeded on their ability to do that. There have been instances, namely in November, where our client's property was used as overflow parking by the park and fly operation.
I'd like to hear from your operations manager, right? If you wouldn't mind saying name and address for the record.
My name is King Beelan, 20 Pierce Street.
How long have you been the operations manager?
About 3 years now.
Okay. Just can you comment to some of the things he addressed, mainly his position that the park and fly is operating without a license. I would like for you to make a comment on the record about that. And also, well, actually, that's more for your counsel, but I guess the overflow issue, encroaching on the easement, parking your park and fly cars on their property, etc.
So I do recall one of the incidents he's talking about, and I do take full responsibility for that. There was a few times that we did park out in the area of the easement. I was new at the time in this particular area of the position, and I had okayed it. I was abruptly reprimanded by the owner, and that has not occurred again. It will never occur again. As far as the easement goes, we both use the easement. So when you come around the corner, there's a huge wide road, probably twice the size from the width, that goes straight into our gates. There's an equally wide road that is the property of Durant. They also encroach on the easement. We have no issue with that when they're loading their big 18-wheelers and such. But it's plenty of room to be able to operate without any issue.
Okay. And counsel, would you mind just commenting on the first question I asked?
Yes.
So I'm not sure whether.
I'm listening. You can go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the pictures.
You're referring to the unlicensed or the temporary unlicensed operation?
Yes. Your brother has mentioned on the record that essentially, without actually coming out and saying it, but guys are essentially operating unlawfully at this point without a permit.
So in November of 2019, my client had been storing some of his construction vehicles on the site, but there was not any type of business operation, formally parking cars, full scheme operations. And obviously, even the ones that he did have parked that shouldn't have been parked. The reasons for that was due to several issues going on at the time with financing in his other projects, Mr. Philbin's, the cannabis dispensary next door. He just needed a way basically to keep the money coming so that he could continue with the other projects and not sink that one. And it was just a quick Band-Aid measure that honestly, he didn't think twice about it, shouldn't have done it, but it did not go on for any duration of a period of time. And the other thing is we applied for the special permit in 2020, and then we revoked that application when we heard from neighbors that they would want to see a more complete traffic study and analysis done. So Matthew's idea was, let's pull this one out, do it right, and then resubmit it, which it was resubmitted in 2021.
But were you operating while that application was
No.
Okay. Because I think that's what your brother is representing.
In the which period?
Well, you said you submitted a special request for a permit, and that was subsequently revoked. You revoked
We
that.
pulled it back
You pulled
without,
it back,
yeah. without
right.
corrections.
Well, you used the word revoke. It
Yeah,
wasn't
no, I
my
know,
word.
I know.
So you pulled it back, right?
Yeah.
And did the Park and Fly continue its operation thereafter? Because again, I mean, you heard your brother's representation, so I'm just trying to see.
No,
what your
I
response is to
understand
that.
there's a lot that they've been saying, and this is all also caught up in the ancillary litigation.
Right,
as
right.
just, but to that point of the, no, I do not believe that once the application was filed in 2021, or no, they approved it in 2021, the special permit. That is when, before that period, there was no operation.
Okay, so as we sit today, you sought and received the necessary approval from the city council, right? From the city council?
Yeah, I can address all those points if you'd like. That were brought up.
Well, we'll get to that in a
Okay,
second. I don't want to belabor it, but you got the necessary approval from there, and you also went before the site plan
Yes.
and got the approval. And I believe you guys can operate while it's on appeal.
Yes.
Because you've been approved.
Yes.
I see. Okay. And the contingencies that the site plan put forth that your brother mentioned, the 13.
They are satisfied, including the traffic study has been uploaded to the portal now for a week. The eServe portal.
So it's there.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you provided council with that, or, I mean, it's public record.
Yeah, and I'm gonna summon our engineer.
Right.
Could you attest to the fact that the traffic study was uploaded in due course as requested by the site plan committee?
Your name
Sure, for the record, Rick Salvo, Engineering Alliance. Yeah, so I uploaded it myself, also emailed a copy to Frank Stringy, spoke with Frank Stringy to confirm that it had everything that it needed in it upon his review, and he was satisfied with the study.
That's all I have.
So just so I'm clear, the traffic study has been completed?
Yes.
And it has been sent up to the economic development or?
Site plan review. Yes.
Very good. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, care to respond?
Yes, Counselor.
I'm happy to supplement the record for the commissioners. You can simply Google roadway in. There are a number of reviews by customers of the Park and Fly that were written before the city council made their decision on November 25th. It's in the public domain that they were operating a Park and Fly business before November 24th or 25th of 2021. And respectfully, I have not seen a single document from the Site Plan Review Committee having considered in an open public meeting the traffic study. When they post on their agendas, the most recent discussion they had did not, I was in attendance, and it did not involve the traffic study. All this to say that there are a number of questions that you've heard that I see no detriment to postponing your consideration of this until that traffic study has actually been considered by the Site Plan Review Committee in an open meeting. And since one of the commissioners is making a raised eyebrow while Googling this, I think he can probably speak to the fact that they were in fact operating without a license before the decision in November of 2021.
Thank you very much, Counselor. But I was under the impression that they could operate a Park and Fly at their other locations. They did have other lots on Stour Street, and I think at the roadway itself, where they were licensed to have a Park and Fly.
However, they were not licensed at 44 Railroad, which is where they were
That's
operating.
correct.
Right, which is where the operation was happening, which was directly affecting Durant and Burbank.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Are there any other opponents? Is anybody else that would like to speak against this project? I don't see or hear anybody. We'll close that section. Open it up to a general discussion and/or a motion.
Well, I don't know, from what I've heard, it's been passed by the city council. I mean, they've gone through their records. I'm satisfied with what I've heard. And I think the city needs more parking. there's no question about that. We need more parking. We need it to be legally licensed at the time. But if there's no other questions, I would go to approve the license. And if, from what I've seen as a license commissioner that has the vote to vote it up or down, I would vote in favor, recognizing that the city council has told us that they feel everything is in order. Frank Stringy has said it's in order. So I would go along with the city council if they've approved it and they've gone over all the records and feel that everything has been done, they've crossed every T, dotted every I. I would make a motion to approve.
And I'd second that motion. I'd like to state for the record that my second in support of the license is based on council's representation, especially when it comes to the traffic report that your engineer indicated that he uploaded. And it seems like the 13 points that needed to be addressed, you've represented on record that you've addressed those issues, so I'm satisfied. That was one of my main concerns coming into this meeting today. And I know that this is a situation that's being highly litigated, and I'm certainly not going to meddle into that. And I think the courts will iron it out, and if it doesn't swing your way, everything gets undone.
Exactly.
So they still have they'll still be able to get their redress at some point if it comes to that. So I'm comfortable with it. I'd second and support the motion by my fellow commissioner.
Very good. The motion is approved.
Thank you.
The application for a commercial parking lot license to be exercised at 44 Railroad Street is approved. The application for the Park and Fly will be approved at the requested number of parking spaces at 220, and that motion and license is approved. Item number 9 has been removed from the agenda and is continued until the next meeting.
Commissioner, on item number 9, I'm just questioning on how many continuances that we would allow on this applicant.
I mean,
I would like to have it heard at some point.
I would tend to agree with you. However, I think there are some issues that are still being redressed either through the courts, and I think that's part of the reason for the continuances.
Oh, okay, then I'm fine with that. If there's something going on with it, not just a constant continuance.
But I share your concern as well. I mean, I think this is what, the fourth one or the third or fourth?
Third or fourth,
Yes.
yes.
It just seems to me it should just be taken off the agenda and whatever that they're trying to put forth, they could just resubmit and we'll put it on when they're ready to move forward. It's just we're almost kicking the can down the road.
Right, I just think that we're holding up a license. We have a license sitting there, but an important license, a Class 2 license. And I would just like to know where we're at, if they could at least send us something, if there is an appeal in court or there's something going on, I'd like to know. If there isn't, then I think we should take a look at it and see how many continuances we should allow on this license.
I understand. I mean, obviously, anybody is free to come in and apply for a license anytime they want. So, I mean, it's not like we're holding this license for this gentleman.
The thing that if there is an appeal on it, I think our hands are tied from moving in any direction. I don't think we can do that if he's appealing our decision. That's why I bring it
Yeah,
to
no,
attention.
like I say, I'm not sure about that, but it's something I'm sure we could ask the city solicitor about.
Yes.
Thank you. So I guess we will. Thank you very much. We'll close this part of the hearing, actually, and open up to the next section, which would be hearings. Item number 10, St. Anthony of Padua Church, 250 Revere Street. Reverend Karunyana Xavier Arulja is the administrator. I'm sorry, Father, if I've mispronounced your name.
Yeah, no problem.
This is a hearing into the operation of an unlicensed commercial parking lot. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and fellow commissioners. Robert Mara, 229 Rice Avenue, Revere, appearing with Father Xavier on behalf of the church. Upon receipt of the License Commission's letter regarding the operation of the lot, the use of the parking lot at St. Anthony's, they discontinued, and I believe the License Commission has been notified, the church discontinued the arrangement that they had with a business that was using the church for some overflow parking issues. So what the church has done at this point is discontinued that. There's nothing going on there at this point with relating to that business. And sort of along the lines of what you've been talking about today, the need for parking in the city, we are exploring perhaps some other avenues which might at some point down the road bring us back before you looking for a license. But at this point, the church acknowledges the transgression that the License Commission pointed out and has discontinued what was going on that led to your letter.
Council, does the arrangement that was in place before, did it bring revenue to the church? Or
It
was
did.
it a measure to bring additional revenue?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was, you know, as you all know, that the church sits on a very large piece of property. Most of that property is vacant throughout the week, and except for maybe Sundays. And so this was a chance to help generate some funding for the church. And the church believed, mistakenly, that as long as the revenue was church-related, that it didn't constitute the type of commercial operation that might fall within your venue. They have since been, if they're following advice, have since been advised otherwise, and so that at least the thought process at this point is to explore some other avenues that may be able to implement some sort of an operation on that property that doesn't implicate a variety of other issues that to the church's benefit, but could also eventually lead to a proper operation along these lines and alleviate some of the issues that you're encountering with some of the preceding petitioners before you.
Thank you very much. I don't think anybody is looking to hurt the church, but there is the aspect of it. It does need to be licensed, and I'm glad that the church is aware of that, and we appreciate you coming before us and explaining the position of the church. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments?
Well, I know, and I would like to state, I am a past prefect of the church, so there's no conflict here. I'm just stating something. There's not a vote. Being so involved in the church, I know what the last 2 years, how it's hurt the church, financially. So I do feel bad. Unfortunately, as you said, maybe you want to look into something where it's properly licensed and to bring some revenue into the church that we're losing at this point. So I wish you luck. Like I say, we're not here to hurt the church. We're here to help, but we have a lot of, as you can see, a lot of people are just opening park and flies. They're getting a piece of property and parking. So we have to just look at it across the board.
And I don't think there was any perception on the church's behalf that the License Commission was looking to hurt them. I think it was just one of these things where there are rules that need to be followed, and so that's why the immediate reaction was to discontinue the operation and then to explore the ways that it can be implemented, if it can be implemented, without other implications to the church. And hopefully at that point, we're coming back before you seeking permission rather than pleading before you.
Right, and I certainly hope that happens sooner than later, because I can appreciate the impact, the pandemic and everything else that has happened on the church, and I certainly would love for it to generate revenue wherever it can get it. So, this is addressed. I think this is as far as it'll go for us. And we hope to see you back and get the proper licensing so you can generate the revenue.
Thank you very much. I don't really have anything else to add. I will just add one thing, though. This is not the first time that we've had these discussions. And so if there are changes in the administration of the church or someone else comes in, we'd like you to make them aware that if they want to do anything, they do need a license. I think that's understood at this point. But
Yes.
like I say, we thought it was understood in the past as well, and there has been other issues that have arisen. So I just want to make that point for the record.
That is acknowledged, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I can say he's my former License Commission colleague, so I think he knows the procedures.
It's less comfortable on this side of the podium.
It's a little different than having you sitting next to me.
Thank you very much. I would make a recommendation or a motion that we file this and see what happens going forward.
I would second that motion.
Very good. This matter will be filed. Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you.
Item number 11, MFRP Corp., DBA The Squire, 640 Squire Road. Peter DePies is the manager. This is a hearing into an incident which occurred on February 28th. Mr. DePies, we did have scheduled one of the police officers that were on detail. He's not able to be here.
No, due to unforeseen circumstances, I had two officers that I wish to have bring testimony today. Neither was able to make it today.
I hate to ask you to come back again, but one of them would be the detail officer who was there, and another one would have been the shift officer.
Okay. And I certainly would not want to go forward. I would like to, if we're going to have a full hearing on it, the officers should be here. And especially since they're not here due to, measures or, beyond their control, I certainly, and I apologize for the inconvenience, but we were just notified a few hours ago that those two officers aren't available. So.
Okay.
I would like to ask for a continuance. if
Yeah.
that's not possible.
I have a lot of traveling I do in May and June, so I won't be able to get back here until July. I have a couple of weddings I'm in, so I don't know if that,
Well, in the meantime,
if that affects,
we've got a,
Well, if that's, look, here's the thing. We've had an opportunity to view the videotape that you
Yes.
supplied. And there are a couple issues that we do need to address. One of them is people being allowed in at 1:28 in the morning, which I know it's, 2 minutes before last call, but it seems like that is somewhat problematic to me. I don't know how.
well, we don't let anybody in after 1 o'clock. And
Well, that's not what the videotape shows.
Well, that's the same door they use is smoking. So as they go out that door, they come out the same door smoking, so the person was probably in there previously. I know it was chaotic that night, but I'll look at the videotape at 1:28, but we shut the doors down at 1 o'clock.
Well,
But I will address the video, as you said,
okay,
at
and
1:28.
we can come back. July seems,
So I would propose that we push it out till May, and if you're unavailable, just simply request a continuance. Because unless you're gonna tell us the dates of your weddings, which we don't have to do for the record.
Right.
I say we just put it out to our May meeting, and if you're unavailable, notify Maggie, we'll put it out till June. And if that falls around the time when you're traveling, because then at least we keep a pulse on it instead of just putting a blanket continuance. So let's
Right.
just kick it out to May.
right.
And
But just as we're here, just to let you know, since that incident, isolated incident, we do have a machine. We barred everybody that was there that night, that they can never come back in our establishment again. So we know the people that were there, just to let you know that. So they can never come in the club again. It's a group from Lynn. We have all their IDs, their name, their information. We stopped them from coming back. We also added outdoor lights to light up the parking lot. And some of the recommendations, we sat down with a couple of police officers. We changed the uniforms for our security staff to be easily identified, on camera, because you don't know who's who when you're watching the videotape. And also, we changed the glasses, our soda glasses, to plastic acrylic. Those are just a small little steps that we took to foresee anything like this
hopefully never happen again.
That's all encouraging, but
Right.
I certainly don't want to get too much into it before making our decision, and I certainly don't want to get to that point unless we hear from the officers, so we can have an appreciation for the full scope of what happened that night.
That's fine.
But certainly appreciate your time. I wish we would have been able to pull you ahead instead of sitting here throughout, because I saw you sitting here from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But I think the appropriate thing is to push it out to the May meeting.
Okay.
You know, I'd be all right with that. The one thing I would like to address, though, is, you know, in looking at the videotape, it does appear that the security staff needs to have some type of a plan or some type of a emergency contingency plan or something that when something jumps off, people have specific responsibilities. And it did seem as if that area in the back corner where the fight initially, you've seen the videotape of it?
Yes, several times.
Okay, so you see where it kind of off to the right side of the bar there toward the back. Just prior to the fight jumping off, there's someone who appears to be maybe vaping or smoking, and then the fight breaks out, and obviously it spreads very quickly and got out of hand very quickly, and once those things happen, it's very difficult to control. But it seems as if you were to deploy the security staff in a way, even if you have one of them up on a riser, who is able to overlook the crowd so that you're not looking kind of through it, you're over them, I think you may have a better opportunity of getting in front of these things before they start getting out of control. These are just some...
I mean, the incident started over a boyfriend and girlfriend. That's how the incident started, and the brother sucker punched the other kids. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's very hard to foresee that happening.
Well, yes, but before that, there is some, you can see some activity that if you're able to look up and see, you can see it starting to, why is this guy in this guy's face just before he starts?
Understandable.
So, but if you could, you know, address this stuff at the next meeting, we'd appreciate it.
Okay.
And we'll have the officers here as well.
I appreciate it.
So I'm sorry to make you come up here for no reason.
Not a problem. I'm in Revere today
Well,
until 3. I'm here till 3 in the morning anyhow, so it's not a problem.
I'm kind of glad he's here. I just have a couple of questions. You're going to be on vacation, so who's the manager in charge while you're gone?
My
Say
brother-
another incident happens.
My brother's my partner. He's the owner too, so
who
it's
do-
either me or my brother on the staff every day.
So who does this board get in touch with? Should an incident happen, or the police have to?
I will have my phone's on 24/7, so if you call me, if I'm in Florida, I can handle something, not a problem.
And if you're not there, he's there.
Correct.
But I think if the police had to go to the establishment, wouldn't they want a direct contact?
I believe,
Rather than waiting for a phone call to call you and...
Excuse me, I'm Rob DePisa, by the way. I believe the officers have both of our phone numbers, and I have, you know, anytime they needed something, they've contacted me. So we're there, either him or myself are there all the time.
So we would
So,
have this readily
whatever we need
available,
to
this
do.
information?
There's never been a lack of communication between us and the police officers, so we talk to them every day as we're working.
But you're saying you're not going to be here, so all I want to do is make sure that you're not here. I think a second phone call, should something happen, I would like to go directly to who the manager is. Give the police his number, his...
Yeah, Rob, the police have both, the police have my number, my brother's number, which we're both the owners, and they have several assistant managers' phone numbers. So there's no lack of communication at that building whatsoever.
Well, I think maybe we should notify the police that while you're gone, they should use his number as the first contact.
That's fine, not a problem. I'll make sure I tell Johnny Gaggs that, not a problem.
Yeah, because I'm concerned, you're going to be away, I'm sure he's well aware of what happened and will be watching for any incident like that, and I understand, you know, when it comes to couples, you don't know what to expect. I do understand that.
Correct.
But as long as he's in charge, knows exactly what to look for, what happened, and who these people are that you've barred.
Yes.
So what do they do when they come in? They show a license to come in? Is
We
that
have
how
we have a computer system, so you scan the license inside the computer system, and it registers and takes a picture of you. So this way we can track who comes into the place, what the age is, and stuff like that.
So this trouble group would be recognized should they come back? That
They can't
bar-
get in. They already tried to come back, and they've been told not to come back by the police. Trespassing notice was against them, so they won't be arriving anytime soon.
Okay, all right. As long as we're comfortable, we have a direct contact.
Yes.
While you're not here, I feel more comfortable than having to call you in Florida, even though your phone's on.
Yes.
That's time to call you, call
Not a problem.
him, so maybe the police want to keep that as a record till we can have this hearing.
Thank you very much.
All right, very good. So we're going to continue this until our next hearing,
Yes,
until our next meeting in May.
okay.
And then we'll, if you're not here, just call and we'll continue it further until.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That concludes the hearings. The next item would be communications. A letter from MHF Logan Operating V LLC, DBA Hampton Inn Revere, detailing a proposed measure to remedy the previous parking license violations. Also a notification from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission of a return of no action for a license amendment application of Four Partners, Inc., DBA Antonia at the Beach. A Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission advisory regarding the future expansion of patio service and takeaway delivery of alcohol by on-premises licensees. And also another notice from the ABCC regarding the approval of guidelines for outdoor alcoholic beverage service areas. And that concludes the communications. Next, we have the license renewals. We only have a few here, so I'll read them. Common Victulars, Sant Corporation, DBA Nick's Deli, 750 Washington Avenue. Kel's Cream, Inc., 437 Revere Beach Boulevard. Queen Associates, Inc., DBA Twist and Shake, 82 Revere Beach Boulevard. And Queen Associates, Inc., DBA Wicked Eats, 76 Revere Beach Boulevard. That concludes the agenda for today. I would move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn now?
Yes, the motion to adjourn until May 19th. I'm sorry, May 18th.
I second that motion.
Very good. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.